Welcome back to the channel. This is Trendy Storm and you are watching 5th part of What If Naruto Becomes Rayearth Knight of Wind. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe to the channel. Now wasting no more time, let's start the story.
Mamoru didn't care much about the safety of the village of Konoha. The village was doomed to burn in the invaders' fires, and every living thing there was doomed to drown in their blood. All he cared about was getting Hinata and killing the blonde and his team, because a huge platoon of samurai was behind them. 3 genin and a junin were no match for almost 50 of the best samurai from the elemental nations, all of whom were well paid and led by him. Demoness's words didn't bother him much. Hinata was worth a king's ransom, but he didn't need to fight a war worth a king's ransom because there was already one. As he moved through the village streets, he saw that the Konoha defenders were fighting back, and they were fighting hard. 2 chunin from Konoha were fighting at least 5 ninjas from Suna and Otto, and they were winning. He cursed in his mind that his plan to escape without being seen would not work. As he and his samurai got closer to the stadium, they felt an evil energy coming from it. It was strong and scary, but it was also slowly going away. Whatever it was, it had stopped all fights around the stadium, including his, but that didn't last long. He and his samurai kept moving forward, not noticing that 3 or 4 of them had left him to his luck because they had families and wanted to protect them. Not long after, the outside lights flashed, making him smile. He knew he had finally reached Hinata Hyuga, the girl he wanted most. Looking around, he saw that all fights had stopped, surely by the still lingering feeling that was felt before. Looking around, he saw his target, Hinata, with 3 auto ninjas at her feet, unconscious, flanked by her teammates. They would also die. Then he spotted the object of his hate, Naruto, kneeling, holding his gut in pain, energy around him, struggling to push it back, and a strange boy with the Uchiha fan crest on its back. He was laughing at the rats when he heard the Uchiha. He turned around and saw that he had black spots on his skin and strange eyes that looked like atoms but had red pupils. He raised his sword at him and his samurai and said, "Come to your death. Feed my blade more." The Uchiha said, sounding almost demonic. Then he stopped, and in a flash, the blonde who had been kneeling in front of him was now standing next to him, a sword through his stomach, and the Uchiha was lifting him up to his level. The blonde said, "Te-imi," which made Mamoru snarl. She meant that Uchiha had gotten his revenge, but at least he had removed an obstacle from Hinata's heart. "I realize now, dope," the Uchiha said. "You will never join me. You are too good looking to join me on my quest. You would be an obstacle for Rayearth." With that one sentence, Mamoru's troops turned away even more. Samurais against ninjas? Maybe. Samurais against Rayearths? Not a chance in hell. I'll take the power that belongs to me. "Don't worry about the village," the Uchiha said, as red energy swarmed around his blade. "I will keep this village as the last of my conquests." He said this while looking the blonde straight in the eye. No one could say anything because they were too shocked to see the person they thought was unbeatable kill the person they thought was immortal in cold blood. "Why? Why do you ask?" The blonde asked, blood coming out of his mouth. "Power, dope, it all comes down to power," the Uchiha said. "Without power, you can't do anything, you can't reach your dreams, you can't move forward in life, you can't find love, and you can't protect anyone, not even yourself," the Uchiha said, digging the blade deeper into the blonde. "Let alone yourself." He then pulled the blade out of the blonde, who fell in a heap of blood, a small pool of blood slowly forming on his back, on the soil. The Uchiha finally turned to a happy Mamoru, but his victory didn't last long because he was startled when the cold Uchiha snapped his fingers and black-armored Anbu appeared out of nowhere. As the Warhawk's parting gift, everything that was rightfully his is now mine, including his dream of a new Konoha that will rise. "Under my wing," Sasuke said as he thrust his sword into the ground and started chanting something that made everyone go wide-eyed. "Spirits of the damned, listen to me. Souls of the sword, answer thy summoner and come out to kill my enemies." The Uchiha said as energy poured out of the blade. It was red energy, and when it finally took shape in front of the Uchiha, it shocked everyone. Face the monster Konoha made, see Naruto on his monstrous self. Kakashi had seen a lot in his life, like his father's dead body and his best friend dying in front of him. But what was happening in front of him and so many ninjas of all ranks was something new and terrifying. Kakashi thought, is that what Naruto would have done if he had been pushed further? He knew that all the Konoha ninjas were thinking the same thing and were both embarrassed and scared. If Naruto had turned on that, they could at least appeal to his human side and try to calm him down, but that wasn't Naruto, that was something else. He heard Ino scream, and it sounded like her crush had finally died. "What have you done?" she asked. "I have released the power and anger of both Kyuubi and Naruto," Sasuke said as he walked up to the four-tailed creature and patted its head. "This creature is Kyuubi's power, fueled by Naruto's rage. I admit, 12 years of scorn took its toll on him, and here is his result. I can release even a more fearsome version of Naruto, one with his darkest feelings, and more dangerous than this," Sasuke said, pointing to the creature. "You can't kill it, because it's energy, and the only weapon that might have a chance can't be used because. Think of this as a prelude of my power when I acquire the 9 Biju," Sasuke said. "When I do, Konoha will feel my wrath, but until then I leave you all with this," Sasuke said, the four-tailed monster suddenly growling in anticipation, "Kill them all. Have no mercy, just like they had none with you." Sasuke said, stopping suddenly, "But wait, there is an uninvited guest," Sasuke said. Not even a second later, Mamoru-sung was dead, with a kunai buried in his forehead. "Much better. Kill them," it yelled, and the four-tailed monster let out a roar that scared many veterans of the battle against the Kyuubi because it was the same as the beast's roar 12 years earlier. Sasuke, for his part, narrowed his eyes a bit because he couldn't see Naruto's body. It didn't matter, though, because everything was going well. Nothing could make it change. When they found out that their son had been killed, their first impression of Konoha was replaced by anger. That's why they started killing ninjas and civilians left and right. Many people died with shocked faces because their beloved Yondaime and his wife had killed them. What seemed like a miracle at first had turned into a nightmare. It sounded good to kill everyone in Konoha, but they decided to kill only the people who killed their son and the old Hokage for failing. They thought that would teach Konoha a lesson. But as they got closer to the stadium, they could feel Kyuubi's familiar aura. This meant that their son was still alive, and that Orochimaru had lied to them. However, their sacrifice had been worth it. As they moved forward, they suddenly turned pale when they saw their son lying on the ground with a pool of blood on him and a four-tailed monster nearby. They ran and picked up their son right away, knowing that a single sword stab to the stomach wasn't fatal if it was treated quickly, so that's what they would try. Now, far away from Konoha, in the woods, Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki were trying to save their son. They ignored an armored woman and a woman in a robe who came by and asked if they could help. Slowly but surely, the wound was healing, a green energy healing the wound. They both breathed a sigh of relief and smiled at each other. They had another chance, a new life ahead of them. "You cannot." Minato and Kushina stopped dead in their tracks. They had heard the voice of the only thing that scared them, but they couldn't see it. "The time has come." Kushina screamed, "No. I will not be separated from my son. Not again." As she hugged Naruto, who was still unconscious. "Why? Why can't you leave us alone? Wasn't the torture on your belly enough?" Minato asked as he comforted the crying Kushina. "You have already left the world of the living. Your existence now is unnatural, and it breaks the rules, the wheel of life." Kushina kept screaming, "No. Not again." And hugging her son. She didn't care about anything else but her son. The death god could go to hell for all she cares. She just wants to raise her son. "I'm sorry, but it has to be this way. Your resurrection has caused an infinite number of problems." Minato yelled, "You don't seem to care much, since the more people die, the better it is for you." The foolish boy is upsetting the balance, and death will come to my door. This is natural, but the boy is doing more damage than anything else, and your son is the one who is supposed to stop this before it starts." At that, both Kushina and Minato looked directly into the eyes of the death god, who was no longer the ogre they remembered. "Your current bodies are temporary, made only of ash and dirt. Your bodies will decay and turn back into dust," said the figure, who was just a man in black robes with black hair and pale skin. Kushina looked at her hands and cried more when she saw a crack in one of them. "It's not fair," she said, holding her son. "I know, dear, I know," Minato said, stroking his son's cheeks. "As the contract said, your souls were the price you had to pay to keep Kyuubi away. Now that the price has been paid, you are no longer bound to it," he said. The two people who had died before looked at him strangely. This Rayearth in particular has a special skill that not even the queen has. He can talk to the dead in his dreams. That was a big surprise. "Your son is destined to do great things here and in Crystalia, and if you want, you can see it." "How?" Minato asked. "Now you can go to the spirit plane, and you'll be able to talk to your son in time." Minato nodded. He knew they were getting out easy, considering what they were about to do before they found their son. But Kushina wasn't having any of it. She looked at her son and cried, her face cracking slightly. Her hands were already ash, and soon her body would be too. She hated Orochimaru for bringing them back to life and giving her false hopes. She sighed and let her son rest. Looking at Minato, the former Cage could only leave one last thing. After talking with the death god, he agreed, and he put the last three-pronged kunai he had in his son's holster and gave him a kiss on the cheek. Walking slowly, he hugged his wife as they both cried and accepted their fate. The death god just nodded, flicked his arms, and Minato and Kushina were turned back into dust, leaving only two glowing orbs of energy floating around. The death god nodded to the orbs, and then both orbs flew towards Naruto, because there was something else they needed to talk about before going to the plane of spirits to live forever. Sarutobi dodged another red hand of the four-tailed monster and raised the staff that was Enma to attack, but it was useless. That thing was too strong for him at his age, and for anyone on the ring, even Jiraiya and Tsunade, that was a tailed beast, not a ninja like Hanzo. There wasn't much they could do. Maybe Orochimaru could do something, but only the fearless or suicidal would. When he looked around, he saw scared Junin and worried Chunin, many of whom had been in the battle 12 years before. He also saw the fear Kyuubi spread like water that night, and he saw the image of their strongest ninja giving up everything, even a baby, to stop the beast. Fang over Fang. Hiruzen Sarutobi was shocked to see Kiba and Akamaru charge fearlessly at the four-tailed beast. Their gray tornadoes hit the beast's torso in a pincer move, making it wail in anger, and then the beast pushed them away, causing Akamaru to lose its transformation and roll around in the dirt. "Don't do anything stupid, Kiba," Sarutobi yelled, but all she got in return was a chuckle. "Tisk, if that moron could deal with that every day, then we can easily kill it." Piercing Fang. Kiba yelled as he charged at the four-tailed monster. Sarutobi was about to charge at the beast again when a swarm of bugs started to attack it. When he looked, he saw Shino's bugs attacking and eating the chakra, but he knew it wouldn't work. Not even an army of Aburame could drain a beast like Kyuubi, let alone a single Aburame against one with four tails. But that didn't mean he couldn't try, and he did until the beast's tail hit him in the stomach and made him fall down in pain. Shanaru. His blood kept getting colder and colder as the new generation attacked the beast without fear. This time, Sakura attacked the beast head-on. Her fist hit the beast's face with pure Tsunade-like wrath, causing it to bend awkwardly on its back, which would have broken a normal person's spine. Much to Sarutobi's surprise and Sakura's shock, the beast's head popped out of its chest and head-butted Sakura, sending her flying into a wall. Not a second later, Hinata dashed at the beast, slamming two chakra-covered palms on its chest, making it stumble, then a third palm strike on the face, more like a slap, then a kick, and another palm strike on the neck. By this time, sack. But the fight didn't last long. The beast let out some kind of scream, which sent a chakra shockwave at the girls and sent them flying into the wall. Sarutobi yelled, "Damn it!" and stood up with the help of his staff. He looked teary-eyed at the efforts of the genin, who should never have to face an opponent like that, a beast that had been let loose by the best of their generation, a beast that had once been held by the weakest of them. Sarutobi was still sad that Sasuke had turned out that way, giving Naruto power and then stabbing him, all because he was too focused on his goals and morals. He might not have said it, but his eyes said it all. Sasuke Uchiha had sold himself to the dark side of his heart. How are we going to kill that thing? Sarutobi heard Choji scream. Kill? I'll settle for stun. If the Yondaime couldn't kill Kyuubi, how are we going to stop that thing? He heard Shikamaru snap, well, think of something, men. That thing is going to kill us if we don't start tying up loose ends. Shikamaru stopped and cursed loudly, damn Uchiha, Naruto had the only weapon that could stop that thing. What do you mean? We can use it. Ino said suddenly, jumping up with the rest of the Rookie 9 who were still conscious, Tenten being the only one of her team fighting the four-tailed monster. Is not use. The blade of Rayearth only answers to its owner, Rayearth. Naruto was the only one who could hold Kei's no Yaiba. Tenten snapped, making Choji and Shikamaru curse. We fight. Sarutobi screamed, slamming his staff on the creature's neck, making it stagger slightly, and then bringing the staff on a downward arc, slamming it on the creature's skull, making the beast meet the ground, is made of chakra. Unlike Kyuubi, this one has a limit on how much it can endure, hit it with all you got. Sarutobi yelled, forming hand seals at a crazy speed, impossible to genin. Earth release, earth-flowing river. To the surprise of the genin and conscious ninjas around, a river of mud formed on the beast's feet, making it growl in anger as it slowly sank in. But Hiruzen was not done. He was going to show that beast the true power of Konoha, and surely inspire the others to fight against it. Forming hand seals quickly, he shouted the name of his new jutsu. Shikamaru heard Sarutobi call out, fire release, again. He had already used 2 high-level earth jutsus and was about to use a fire jutsu. How the hell was he able to do that? Then he remembered that the old man was a famous cage-level ninja who had fought in the Shinobi Wars. Fire Dragon Flame Bullet. In a huge show of power, the Sandaime Hokage exhaled a massive fire stream in the shape of a dragon and shot it straight at the beast. The beast let out a wail of pain and defiance as it was completely burned up by the flames. Choji muttered, damn, as he looked at the massive power of a cage-level ninja. That should stall him, Sarutobi said, making all the genin look at him in shock. Stall him? You just fried him. Ino yelled. Trust me, Ino, 5 ninjas used that same technique 12 years ago against Kyuubi, and it barely burned its fur. What hope do you think? The rest of the invaders left as soon as they saw the 4-tailed monster. The Suna ninjas ran away when they saw how easy it was to take down their weapon, and the Auto ninjas, who were mostly just a few Junin who were barely Junin level, Chunin with bad training, and maniac genin who didn't care about their own lives or the lives of their allies, were easily killed. Almost. Sarutobi gave a low growl as he looked at the few ninjas on the Colosseum. Kiba was now awake, Sakura and Hinata were getting better, and Kakashi and Guy had joined them after taking care of some Auto stragglers. They had to make a plan or they would lose. He felt nice. His body didn't hurt, and his stomach didn't hurt at all. In fact, he didn't feel any pain at all. He felt his head on something soft, and something softer than a comb ran through his hair. It was a nice feeling. So. This is what it's like to be really dead, huh? Being taken somewhere by angels, he thought as he opened his eyes and saw that he wasn't alone. He looked into the eyes of a woman with long red hair and blue eyes that looked just like his. The fact that she was above him and at an angle meant that she was holding his head in her lap. Slowly getting up, he saw that he was in the part of his mind where Kyuubi was sealed. Looking further, He saw that the jail gates had been damaged, like rusted, bent, burned, and melted, and the seal was gone. Fearing that the woman was Kyuubi, Naruto sat up quickly and got in a fighting stance against her. The woman looked sad at him and said, "He was freed, Naruto-kun, and no, I'm not Kyuubi." As she spoke, she suddenly remembered Sasuke's sacrifice, what he did to Gaara, and then what he did to him. Sasuke had somehow taken Kyuubi out of him. I hardly doubt it. He got in a fighting stance again, but this time he was scared when he saw his enemy. It was him. He had red glowing eyes with slits, fox-like ears, long fangs and nails, ticker whisker marks, and 9 red tails moving behind him. Naruto blinked, and blinked, and blinked again. "Kyuubi?" He asked. "No, I'm the Lord of Flames, fear my wrath, of course is me blockhead." The moment the Kyuubi-looking Naruto said that, the woman had slug him on the head, hard enough to make the most powerful of the 9 Biju to curse loudly, and in turn curse her, while nursing the massive bump on his head. "Don't talk to my son like that, you furball," said the woman. At that moment, Naruto blinked very quickly and looked at the woman in shock. "Damn it, Yondaime, how many people did you lock in me?" "I got a name, you know?" a male voice asked. Turning around, Naruto saw the man who had cursed him to save the village, but he had never seen him in real life. He had only seen the image carved on stone. "No. No," Naruto whispered as he stared in shock at the face of the Yondaime Hokage. He looked just like the Yondaime, and Naruto looked so much like the Yondaime Hokage that it only took him 3 seconds to figure it out. "You bastard!" Naruto yelled, making the Yondaime look downcast. "Oh, crash and burn, punk!" Naruto, who looked like a Kyuubi, said with a smirk, only to get hit in the head again by the woman. In a fit of anger, Naruto grabbed the most powerful ninja ever and started punching him. All of Naruto's anger, hatred, and loneliness fueled his rage now. 12 years of being alone and mocked had left no one wondering why the Yondaime had used a baby to seal Kyuubi or why the baby looked like him. Now it was clear as day. The Yondaime had sealed the most powerful Biju on his own son, his own flesh and blood. Each blow was getting a little weaker, but the Yondaime didn't stop Naruto at all. He knew he deserved each one, and he knew he was getting off easy compared to Kushina, who had literally tortured him inside the Shinigami's stomach after she tore everyone else out of there so she could spend some time alone with Minato. It was a long, painful time, but it was worth it. As Naruto stopped, Minato could see that his son was crying and clutching the fabric of his cloak in an angry but also sad way. It broke his heart to see his son so weak, hurt, and vulnerable. He might have missed seeing his son grow up, but that didn't mean he would stop being a father just because he was dead. Minato stood up, and he and Naruto both straightened up. "Toughen up, Naruto. You didn't cry when I sealed that monster on you, and I expect you don't cry now because you've had a hard life and you remember it," Minato said sternly, making Naruto stiffen up but still cry. "I know it was my fault, and no amount of forgiveness can fix the damage I did to you, and no amount of time can fix the damage the villagers did when they didn't believe in my skills as a seal master," Minato said seriously. "I mean, come on. I invented the first human-used time-space travel seal. Can't they at least have some faith in the seal with the god of deaths and my approval?" Naruto's sweat dropped at that, since it was the people in the masses tend to fear what they don't know. The masses are stupid, afraid, and don't have any kind of intelligence. Unlike the individual, who thinks and acts on his or her own, the masses act based on what one person does. They don't have will. Naruto smiled a little when he saw Anima walk into the broken place that used to be Kyuubi's cage. Kushina smiled a little when she saw the 3-floored tiger, and Minato, Kyuubi, just rolled his eyes and said, "Smartass," which got him another punch from Kushina, who was having a good time beating up the most powerful demon in such a funny way. "So, what I heard is true, my son is a Rayearth," Minato said with a smile. Anima nodded when he saw Naruto and Kyuubi, and Minato looked proud. "That's right, I'm glad to finally meet Naruto's parents. I wonder if he would have turned out the same with you two around." I barely doubt it. That boy's mind is as thick as cinderblock. I doubt all that. I'm the son of the Yondaime. Would have even moved him. I dare say he would have rubbed it on the face of the Uchiha and used it to get girls, the Kyuubi said, looking at Naruto sternly. Boy. It's time you learn why I attacked. Eh? I thought you attacked because you wanted to. Why the change of heart? Naruto asked with a smirk. Does this mean that the big bad fox has finally given me his trust? Impudent boy. I still don't understand why the queen chose you to be a Rayearth when you don't have the right manners. Even with the girl personality on you, your own personality is still dominant, Kyuubi said. Look who's talking. You were bragging you would tear Konoha of its bases, and all you got was a one-way trip to my son's belly, Minato said with a smirk. Although I... Like father, like son, the Kyuubi said with a smirk, making Kushina, Minato, and Naruto blush. That was something I didn't need to know. You were bound to find out that we Uzumaki women were as notorious as Hyuga women. If you ask Hiyashi how his late wife acted, the first thing he will do is turn pale and shudder, Kushina said with a taunting smirk. And to answer an unasked question, yes, I am your mother, Kushina Uzumaki. Era. My name was supposed to be Arashi? Man, what a lame name. Naruto muttered, I would be more thankful, that was your grandfather's name. Kushina muttered, besides, the only reason we named you Naruto was because of Ero Sennin. Kushina said. Damn, I thought my nickname was original to him. As fun and nauseating as this family reunion is, Kyuubi said, making the other three growl, you still have to find out what happened that night. Do you remember how I got to Konoha? Tisk. Who doesn't? You went in a straight line, ignoring towns, fortresses, and even the capital of fire, and you ended up at the west walls of Konoha, Naruto said. Beyond the walls, boy, what was beyond the walls on that sector? The Uchiha compound, Minato said. I remember they were too secretive that night, but they actually let me pass easily. Minato said, that night, I felt a strong force pulling me there and taunting me. It was Madara. Minato asked Kyuubi, Madara? As Madara Uchiha, the first candidate for Hokage when the village was founded. Kyuubi nodded. I remember, long ago, when Madara summoned me to face his mortal enemy, Hashirama Senju, our battle left a scar in the land that would never heal. The Valley of the End, Kushina muttered. Correct, Madara and I fought Hashirama and lost. I thought Madara had died when Hashirama put a sword through his heart and twisted it, but it seems that he survived that and planned the destruction of Konoha by calling me again, right to the heart of Konoha, inside the Uchiha compound. His evil, along with the evil of the Uchiha, drew me in, and I was. By all means, I should hate you, and I still do, but in the end you serve a greater purpose. You freed me from Madara. With that, Kyuubi actually bowed to Minato, leaving Naruto and Kushina shocked. I wish I had a camera, was all Naruto could say. And in all of this, where is my son? Minato asked. Your son is still a target of Akatsuki, Kyuubi said, looking at Naruto. The Uchiha extracted my chakra, the part you sealed off from Naruto's use, while the part that was of his access immediately became inaccessible to him to extract. Whatever Akatsuki wants, they want the whole me, both yin and yang, they won't accept middles. I warn you. Simple, the Uchiha killed me. This is my soul. When the Shinigami comes, I will join your mother and father among the dead. Naruto was surprised to hear this. Wait, you died? Naruto asked. Yes, I did. Unlike humans, who can use either the yin or the yang parts of chakra, I, as a beast made of chakra, need both. When you absorbed all my chakra, you took the yin chakra and sealed it in you, but left the yang chakra alone. That's why you still have my yang chakra. Yes, the Uchiha kid wants to kill his brother, but the power he stole is fueling his own power and ambition. He won't stop until he gets the power of the 9 beasts, but you are the one thing he can't control. He still doesn't know he has only my yin chakra. When he does, he will come to you, so be ready. Kyuubi said as he looked at Naruto with a stern face. Son. I know I kind of messed up your life, Minato said, earning a glare from Naruto. But I know this. I made the right choice. You are strong, only you could have handled being Kyuubi's prisoner. I am proud of you. Naruto just sighed and smiled. Soon, Kushina joined her son and kissed him all over the face, making him blush and whine. Soon, Minato's mother and father came out, looking proudly at their son with a few tears in their eyes. Listen, son. Sasuke used Kyuubi's chakra to summon a four-tailed monster, and from what I could tell of Kyuubi here, your sword is the only thing that can stop it. In fact, I think you are the only one who can stand up to that thing. Minato asked, okay, but how did you find out? Is your mind, you still have a connection to the wind, and we can pretty much feel what you feel. Oh, and learn this, Minato said as he showed Naruto a couple of hand seals. It was the hand seals needed to use my special jutsu, the Flying Thunder God. I leave you with my last kunai with the set of seals in it. Make sure nobody, especially Danzo, has that kunai. That. Awesome, I got my own home in a legendary kunai, kick-ass. That was a surprise, but given who he is and what he doesn't have, it wasn't too surprising. Kushina said, besides all that, we are proud of the person you became. This stopped Naruto from going on about how happy he was. It takes a special kind of person to go through everything you did and still live, Kushina said as she, Minato, and Kyuubi started to disappear. Wait. Does this mean I can't see you again? Naruto asked in a panic. No, my son. You'll see us soon, when you're ready. Goodbye. With that, the three of them disappeared, leaving Naruto alone with Anima. Anima was looking at Naruto with a serious face, and Naruto was slowly crying. I know it's hard for you, Naruto. You just met your parents, and now you have to be apart from them again. No, that's not it. I met them, they love me, they never left me. I was loved, Naruto whispered as he kept staring at the place where his parents used to live. I always dreamed about them, who they were and what they could have been. I always imagined that my father was a noble and powerful ninja and that my mother was a beautiful princess, and that one day they would return for me and take me out of the loneliness, to take me to a big castle, where I would never starve, I would never be alone, or cold, where Gigi would come to visit, where Iruka-sensei would come to teach me every day. Naruto cried until he felt Anima's paw on his shoulder. She comforted him and told him that crying wouldn't fix anything, just like he had told Inari once that crying and whining wouldn't fix anything, only actions would. Naruto dried the tears that were still on his face, balled up his fists, and turned to face Anima, who was now very serious. He didn't need to be able to read minds, which he doesn't, to know what his charge was thinking. Anima, let's show the Teme what happens when he messes with a Rayearth's home. With a nod, the room lit up brightly around Naruto, who refused to close his eyes. Opening his eyes, Naruto saw that he was no longer on Kyuubi's cage, but on the forest, barely a kilometer of Konoha's walls. Looking around, he spotted two ash and dust monticules, growing sad, and knowing those were his mom and dad before contacting him. Sighing in sadness, Naruto finally spotted the kunai Minato spoke of him, the last tri-pronged kunai of the Yondaime Hokage with the jutsu formula for the Flying Thunder God etched on the handle of this. He didn't know what would happen if he used it all the time, so he decided to only use the Thunder God as a last resort. That didn't stop him from gripping it tightly and facing the Konoha walls with determination, feeling the foul chakra of the four-tailed beast along with an explosion in a bright flash, and saying, hold on. I'm coming. Shikamaru yelled, coming. As a solid red hand clawed its way toward him and Guy. They both jumped away when the now large claw hit the wall and broke it down easily. The battle with the four-tailed beast started up again a minute later. Sarutobi had just used 3A rank jutsus on the beast, but the freak barely felt them. As soon as the minute was up, the beast charged at them again, attacking without remorse. There wasn't much they could do about that, because if 3A rank jutsus barely hurt it, only an S rank jutsu would do the trick. The problem with S-rank jutsus is that only cage-level ninjas know them, and they usually kill both the target and the user. This is not good news for ninjas who love big jutsus. On the bright side, the resurrected but silent Shodem and Nindem Hokage charged the beast for no reason, and even though they were called by the enemy, they ended up helping them. But even with their help, it was hard to face the monster that was literally made out of the village's hatred. Also, Naruto's mind and will were slowly breaking down, so it was surprising that he had stayed sane for 12 years on his own. Hokage-sama, we need to do something other than attack it with high-rank jutsus. Kakashi yelled, his Sharingan eye covered by the beast chakra. What do you suggest, Kakashi? That thing is too strong, and it's clear that Orochimaru didn't bring back the former cages, or Hashirama and Tobirama would have beaten it a long time ago, Hiruzen said, not seeing any other. Then. We have no choice. We have to use that jutsu to stop it, Kakashi said. He looked around and saw a lone reporter and cameraman from the Konoha news crew. They were probably broadcasting the battle live to everyone with a TV set in Konoha, including the shelters, which for some reason also had TVs. Kakashi didn't know why, but he thought it was one of his late sensei's crazy ideas. No, absolutely not. That jutsu already ruined a life, I will not ruin another. Sarutobi shouted loudly enough for the genin to pay attention. What jutsu? Sakura asked. The dead corpse-consuming seal. The same jutsu that was used to stop Kyuubi and proof of which is in Naruto's belly, Kakashi said, looking grimly at Sakura. Are you crazy? That jutsu kills the user and messes up everyone else who survives it. No. Shikamaru yelled at Kakashi and Hiruzen. There is no other way. No other way. Shikamaru yelled back at Kakashi. You want to sacrifice another life to stop something we can stop with our own hands. Sacrificing a single life is worth. As long as 1,000 are saved, Kakashi said again. I bet you tell yourself that lie every time you see Naruto-kun suffer. You think a life is as valuable as anything, but it's not. A ninja's life means nothing. Ninjas live and die quickly. That's enough, Kakashi, Hiruzen snapped. A life is precious in every sense of the word, including a ninja's life. The fact that we choose to give our lives willingly is a whole other thing, remember that. He looked at the copycat ninja with a stern look, and this one sighed in defeat. But. Really, I can't think of any other way to beat that thing. I just don't know what to do, Hiruzen said as he watched the four-tailed beast suddenly stand on both legs, trembling like crazy, and bubbles made of pure red chakra come out of its body. Then, on all fours, curling its tails to its mouth, the bubbles began to gather into a dense red ball that collapsed on its own core. The beast opened its monstrous maw, the sides cracking so the mouth could open wide, then the baseball-sized ball or energy was swallowed. Not a second later the beast fell to the ground. How the hell that thing plans to attack us? That thing just made him kiss the, oh my god, Kiba and Choji exclaimed as they saw the beast torso expand, like a balloon, doing what ordered. All ninjas scattered, all but the Shodem and the Nindem who charged at the thing. Smoke came out of the beast's mouth, and as it slowly opened its mouth, energy started to come out. Its hands dug into the ground, and its legs were ready to support any kind of backlash. Soon, the beast's neck grew bigger, and so did the energy. With one last effort, it fired a chakra cannonball with the force of 100 cannons. The ball dug into the ground as it went by. Neither of the former cages could avoid the boom. Shodem and Nindem Hokage, Hashirama Senju and Tobirama Senju, and everyone behind them were destroyed by a huge explosion, which shocked the ninja and everyone watching the fight on TV. The explosion tore up the ground and walls down to the smallest molecules. Every ninja in the arena went silent and tense when they saw that display of firepower. Some of them remembered that Kyuubi had done something similar right before it was sealed, but it never finished because the Yondaime had sealed the beast. How are we going to stop that thing? Sakura asked in a whisper. Sounds of the snake summons fighting against the toad summons could still be heard, so Jiraiya was busy, and surely with Otto and Suna stragglers who had yet to catch the idea of retreat, and the same to Tsunade in the hospital, the ninjas there were on a mission of some sort, and they were willing to face the slug-s. When Sakura looked around, she saw that everyone thought the same thing she did. Without Kei's no Yaba's ability to disrupt Chakra and Naruto, the only one who could use the sword, they didn't have much a chance. Sakura cursed Sasuke's name and existence because he had pretty much screwed them over. She also cursed herself for not being smart enough to see that he would never love her and that the man who could had already been taken. The only good thing about that terrible scene was that she and the other ninjas would die knowing that Sasuke would not live to see a new day. It might not be today or tomorrow, but he would pay soon, very soon. Sasuke smirked as he saw the battle at afar. His Sharingan might not have the telescopic view of the Byakugan, but it had far better upgrades, including the ability to evolve, something the Byakugan can't do. No matter how hard a Hyuga trains, they are limited to their eyes' skill and finesse, same with the Sharingan he shamefully admits, but at least he admits it, unlike the prideful Hyuga clan. A black-armored Anbu looked at the Anbu with a plain white mask and asked, "Sasuke-sama, how should we proceed?" When Sasuke looked into the eyes of the Anbu, he saw that they were emotionless, the perfect subordinates. Danzo had been kind enough to leave him a gift as he stabbed his blade into his weak heart, and his root division, his ninjas, and the Danzo ninjas were at his command and his alone. Go to the Uchiha compound and take every scroll about the Uchiha clan's techniques, jutsus, and the Sharingan and its history. Make sure all of those scrolls are sealed properly, and then bring them to me. I won't let Konoha take my family's legacy and use it against me, Sasuke said. The Anbu and 3 more black-armored Anbu flew away towards Konoha. Sasuke-sama, another ROOT said. What now? Sasuke asked in an annoyed voice. He was looking at his work, which was how Konoha was destroyed from the inside out, with cameras sending the images to Konoha itself. The Uzumaki boy lives, the Anbu said, making Sasuke narrow his eyes. Of course the dope is alive. He survived a stab to the heart and 12 years of isolation. He can damn well survive a stab to the stomach, Sasuke thought a little bitterly. Not that he had any hope of Naruto actually dying, but in the end it would have been boring to take over Konoha and eventually the elemental nations without a. Let him be. He is weak, and the Hokage will die for his sins and crimes against my clan no matter what he does today. Hokage-sama, we have to use it. There's no other way. Kakashi said, it won't work. That thing is chakra, Kakashi, just like Kyuubi. If I use it without a proper container, the beast will get away. Then let me get a baby or something to seal it, Kakashi said. It's useless, Kakashi. No one will give their baby to stop that thing. No orphanage matron will give a baby orphan to stop it. No one will after seeing what Naruto went through in his life. No one wants that to happen again, Sarutobi said bitterly, making Kakashi sigh under his breath. The beast just looked at them, ignoring the many attacks that. I know you're mad at yourself for not seeing what Sasuke turned into, but I'm also to blame. I should have helped the boy more, given him more attention, and helped him fight his demons. We're all to blame. Just as Konoha's scorn turned Naruto into a monster, our attempts to treat Sasuke like a hero and pamper him instead of helping him fight his demons turned him into a monster just as dangerous as the one in. Kakashi. Guy shouted. Your Rayearth might be the only thing that can get through its chakra shell and hurt it from the inside. Guy said this, making Kakashi think and actually curse himself. He had already split a freaking thunder in 2 with his jutsu. He can damn well split that thing in 2, especially in the head. Gathering his remaining chakra and making the necessary hand seals, Kakashi formed his legendary technique and got ready to attack the beast. Time to die, freak. With a roar, Kakashi ran at the beast as fast as he could, his right hand fully charged with his elemental affinity. Eat this. The beast said with a sneer, but did nothing to stop the attack. Rayearth. Showing his right hand, Kakashi aimed his attack on the beast's torso. With a roar, the beast pushed Kakashi hard into a wall, hurting him and causing the wall to fall on him. Impossible. The Rayearth can pierce anything. It even split a thunder in two. How can we hope to kill that thing? A Chunin screamed, looking scared of the beast. You can't. Many people were shocked when the beast spoke without moving its jaw. I am unbeatable. I am immortal. But of course, Shino suddenly said, that beast is made out of Kyuubi chakra and part of Naruto's mind. We can't kill it because simply we can't. Only Naruto can do it. Is his enemy, his shadow, his dark side, is his job to kill it, not ours, Shino said, damn it. And Sasuke killed Naruto. Man, we are so screwed. Kiba snapped, falling on his knees, holding his head in despair. Yes. Despair. Fear. Hate me. I revel in it, the creature said in two voices. One was Naruto's voice, and the other was deeper and less emotional. Slowly, the beast moved forward, cracking the ground with each step. Each time, everyone took a step back, but everyone noticed something. Only 3 tails could be seen. Gaia yelled, watch out. When she heard the earth crack, but no one saw it crack in front of Sarutobi. He looked down and frowned as his life flashed before his eyes. The day he was taken as an apprentice by Hashirama, when Tobirama became Hokage, when Asuma was born, when he became Hokage, the wars, the birth of 2 generations under his wing, the birth of Naruto, the death of Kushina. I guess I'm out of time. Ah. Hokage-sama. They all yelled, some in anger, some in shock, but all saddened by what they saw. A pure chakra tail had pierced the god of Shinobi's stomach, burning the skin and organs slowly, like a scorpion sting, and slowly lifting Hiruzen into the air, this one grunting in pain. You held me for so long and neglected me of my revenge over this pathetic village, nurturing my weakest self, the beast growled, making everyone gasp. Now no one will stop me. Blood shall rain over my dead body, freak. The beast yelled. It turned around and looked up, only to see that its worst nightmare was coming true. Rasengan. With a strong push, Naruto slammed a chakra-made ball of spiraling energy into the beast's face, causing it to crash into the ground and free Sarutobi while kicking up dust and making a crater where it hit. Not long after that, Naruto ran out of the epicenter and right to where Sarutobi's limp body was, surrounded by the other genin. Gigi. Oh Kami, no. Not you. Anyone but you. Naruto cried out in despair. It's okay. Naruto only has a flesh wound, Hiruzen said with a small smile on his bloody lips. Nothing a little rest and a cigarette can't fix. No. Not now. Not you, Naruto kept saying. I regret nothing. I lived a long, happy life and saw this village, my home, grow, Sarutobi said as he coughed up blood and looked at the genin around him. The Chunin and the remaining Junin also looked as sad as the genin. No, Ba-chan will fix you. She's a top doctor, after all. You'll see that everything will be fine, Naruto said as he kneeled next to the dying Hokage and held his hand. Lies, Naruto. All lies. You of all people should know that you lived among lies. I made a lie to protect you. I made a lot of lies to keep the village safe. I don't care about Kyuubi, and I know why you never told me about my parents. I understand all of that. But what do you mean by other lies? Don't tell me there are more jailers, or that I have a hidden sister. To everyone's surprise, Sarutobi laughed at that. Hee, you wish. No, it has to do with the Uchiha massacre, he said, looking up at the sky. I tried. I tried so damn hard to stop them from doing something stupid, but in the end, I had to tell Itachi to do what was best for the village. You ordered the annihilation of the Uchiha clan. Sarutobi gasped. A coup was planned, and if it had worked, the Fourth Shinobi War would have begun. Konoha, weakened by a civil war with the Uchiha, would have been the spark needed for a next war, and I regret nothing. Because in the end, peace was kept. But at what price? Kami, at what price? He said. Now. My time is past due. All I can hope is that you, as the new generation, fix what we did. Learn of our mistakes. Correct them. Don't fall in our sins. Make an even better future for those who will come. He coughed up more blood and gasped. You, Naruto, of all of them, hold the key to a brighter future. Not only as the legacy of the Yondaime, not only as the former Kyuubi jailer, but as a Rayearth, Naruto the Maelstrom. Your duty is to the people. Your blade is for the people. I trust that one day you will make a fine Hokage, like your father, and I regret not living to see you all grow and see Konoha prosper further. Ga. Sarutobi gasped, coughing even more blood than the past times. Live. Well. Die. Free. With those last words, Hiruzen Sarutobi, the professor, the god of shinobi, and the oldest Kage to date, died with a small smile on his face, knowing that everything would be okay in the end and that he had left the village's future in good hands. Sarutobi. You die as a shinobi. The least I can do is finish what you started and kill this beast, the Monkey King said. No, Naruto suddenly said, standing up and looking at the spot where the beast was slowly standing up. That thing is mine, he growled as he slowly moved toward the beast. The fool died. Good. Nothing will stop me. With a scream, a chakra wave was sent to the group, but Naruto screamed as well and raised his hands. Some kind of force field collided with the attack and stopped it, leaving a gouge in the ground where they met. Fool, you lived among lies. Relinquish your heart to me, and we will attain revenge, the beast hissed. Make me, Naruto snapped, shooting his hands forward, and to all shock, thunders emanating of them, meeting the beast head on, shocking it without mercy and remorse for a whole minute. Then Naruto shot his left hand, free of thunders at the beast position, causing a gush of wind to meet the beast head on, sending it crashing to a wall. Very well, they heard the beast say as it slowly stood up and looked at Naruto with defiance. Challenge accepted. Like last time, the beast's beats started to twitch, but instead of chakra bubbles, a chakra-made grip came out of its back. The beast roared as it pulled a chakra-made Zanbato that was about the same size as Naruto's. There is no space for both of us, it snarled. In response, Naruto shot his right hand where Kei's no Yeba was, the sword flying to his hand, and skillfully taking it. Indeed, by the end of the day, one will stand, and one will fall. Naruto screamed, rushing at the beast, in his right hand Kei's no Yeba, and on his left hand, much for many shock, a tri-pronged kunai. When Naruto jumped and raised his sword, the beast read what was written on its own sword. Die, you unholy hellspawn. The last battle of the invasion had begun, and with it, the fate of Konoha was hanging by a thread and in the hands of a boy. The shelters, located under the Hokage mountain, had been an idea of Hashirama Senju to hide civilians in case of a ninja invasion to Konoha. Leaving the streets free of civilians would give free rein to the defenders to use high-rank jutsus to stop the invaders.
Furthermore, during the reign of Tobarama Senju, Hashirama brother, added several commodities such as small infirmary equipped to attend injuries, to perform surgeries if needed, and even attend a woman on labor. It would be with the reign of Hiruzen Sarutobi that by obligation, all ninjas should know the location of the hidden shelters, so they could defend it swiftly in case the enemy found it. And with Minato Namikaze's short but decisive reign, the shelters were expanded further, Several chakra suppressors outside the shelter would provide with a defense against killer intents such as Kyubis and the ability of the attackers to assault the shelter. Also, the shelter was provided with their own electric grid, since the infirmary only had a small power plant to provide energy, and to many shock, radio and TV set. In his way to saying it to the council when it happened, what better way to lose time and forget time than with some music and soap operas.
People inside the village knew what was going on because of these two communication devices. Of course, the bad news was that Sasuke Uchiha had betrayed them, Kyubi had been taken out of Naruto and used by the four-tailed beast, and the Sandaime Hokage had been killed by the beast. It was the worst news since Minato Namikaze's death 12 years ago. The genin inside the shelter and Iruka, who was taking care of the sick Anko, were saddened by the fall of the Sandaime, but Konohamaru's pain was worse because he had seen his grandfather die, how he said his last words to the ninjas around him, and how he died with a small smile on his face. It took Kurenai a while, but she was able to calm down the crying child. She was one of the few Junin, as few as 3, on the shelter because the Sandaime had told them to stay. Another reason was that they were inexperienced fighters who mostly used genjutsu, and their skills would work better to slow down the invaders if they got inside the shelter. Many people were surprised when Naruto came back with the legendary Rasengan and gave the beast leaf hospitality, which is what some ninjas say when they catch a spy in their home. They had seen Naruto refuse the Monkey King's offer to help him fight. Instead, he chose to fight the beast on his own and even matched the chakra-like pulses that had stopped many jutsus and hurt many ninjas in the past. When Naruto's hands shot thunder and made the beast tremble and roar in pain, and when the beast pulled a blade out of itself, they knew the battle had changed from a ninja fight to a more barbaric brawl. By the end of the day, one will stand and the other will fall, Naruto said as he charged at the beast. Who would be left at the end of the day? This was a question that both people who used to dislike Naruto and people who liked him thought about. Guy grunted in pain as both blades hit each other, sending a concentrated chakra pulse around the arena and making all the ninjas grunt as the massive pulse hit the walls. Ninjas could match their chakra to the pulses and resist them, but the walls couldn't, and they suddenly cracked violently under the strain. Guy and the veteran Junin of the Kyubi battle could see that Naruto turned around in midair and landed about 5 meters away from the beast, which was snarling loudly and slamming the sword into the ground like a club. Naruto growled because he knew the Kyubi poser wanted to kill him like he did with Sarutobi, but this time he was ready. The beast slammed its 4 tails on the ground. Naruto stuck his sword into the ground and started making a complicated set of hand seals he didn't know. Ninja art. Valley of the Maelstrom. He shouted, slamming his hands hard on the sword hilt. Unknown amounts of chakra that no genin should have were released, with devastating results. Around the sword and Naruto, the ground in the arena suddenly cracked loudly, and out of the ground and cracks came what looked like blades made of wind and lightning. They were at least 5 meters tall and 2 meters wide, which was scary considering that a genin had made them. All of the ninjas in the arena jumped to the stands. Kakashi was holding Hiruzen's body and could see in great detail how the 4-tailed beast was trapped, pierced, shocked, and its free and unpierced limbs started to violently bounce back and forth when they touched one of the spikes, hard enough to break a grown person's bones. Wow. The tips of the spikes must be overloaded with electricity, enough to kill an adult and turn them into dust. Not only that, but the spikes' bodies are made of wind and act like pinball arms, slamming what wasn't impaled around, doing more damage if the target got away. But for that thing, it must be painful and troublesome at the same time. Its chakra body is not that easy to pierce. He thought bitterly, remembering how his rapier. The beast suddenly roared in anger, and the spikes on it and around it disappeared in a chakra explosion that shook the arena. Sharp and explosive. What else did the Toad Sage teach him? Sakura screamed, making Kakashi look at her. The Toad Sage? As Jiraiya of the Sannin? Sakura nodded. Tsunade-sama is also here. She screamed, and the explosions finally stopped. Down on the arena, Naruto pulled out Kei's no Yaiba and got ready to fight the beast again. He couldn't see because of the smoke, but he was sure that the beast was in front of him. Naruto grunted when he heard a sudden explosion. When the smoke cleared, he saw the beast, with its arms dug into the ground. Crack. Kuso. Naruto yelled as he did a back somersault to avoid a sudden burst of two red hands that almost caught him. To everyone's surprise, both arms suddenly grew an extra pair of arms and started chasing Naruto, who jumped every time the snake-like extra arms tried to catch him. Naruto then stopped and waited for both arms to get close to him. Suddenly, his sword started to give off yellow lightning like flashes around the blade. "My turn, punk!" he shouted as he swung his sword like a bat. Lightning blade. He yelled as a huge lightning-made blade came out of the blade and went straight at the arms at an incredible speed. Boom. The arena shook again when the lightning blade hit the arms, but to everyone's surprise, they were able to cut them off cleanly. The extra arms fell off in a wave of destruction, and Naruto raised his arms to block the wave coming at him. At the same time, the lightning blade hit the beast's torso, causing yet another explosion, which was worse than the one caused by the arms. As the smoke cleared, there was another explosion that shook the arena. This time, something glowing came from where the beast had been. Naruto's eyes widened when he saw that the glowing orb was the same thing that killed the two dead cages and everyone behind them. He put his sword behind him and brought his hands forward, one of them suddenly glowing purple. Everyone saw how the super-fast orb started to slow down, little by little, until it reached Naruto, where he was able to stop it completely, the chakra orb floating between his hands. "Hey, moron, you forgot this." Naruto. With a growl, the beast suddenly roared, sending another concussion wave toward the orb. When it hit, the orb exploded in the middle of the arena, blinding everyone with its power. As the smoke started to come back, Naruto saw the beast growl at him. Its glowing eyes were pointed at him, and its huge jaw opened and a growl came from inside its glowing mouth. The beast asked, "Why do you refuse to get revenge?" Naruto lifted his sword and said, "Because that's not my way." Foolishness, ramblings of a liar. Lie all you want to those around you, but you can't fool me. I am you. I know you. You don't know me at all. I've never wanted to hurt you. But others did. Everyone in Konoha wanted revenge on you, to hurt you and hurt us. Don't talk about what you don't know. Hey, I know more than you think. The stares, anger, and scorn that all the people you call precious have for you. And you think it matters to me now? The past is the past, and what matters is the future. Naruto suddenly growled, making the beast laugh. Oh, yes. Naru-kun. The red four-tailed beast started to change before everyone's shocked eyes, including Naruto's. Its skin started to get a tan color, its short, spiky hair got longer and got piggy tails, and its face got more human features, like a mouth with lips and long fangs, a slim nose, smooth skin, cheeks with 3 lines on each cheek, and red crimson eyes with slits. When the smoke cleared, everyone saw that. Slowly, the girl moved her arms, and everyone could hear the bones cracking as they moved into place. Then, everyone heard her laugh. It wasn't a girly giggle like a fangirl would make, but a more evil laugh that echoed all over the silent stadium. The female, Naruto, asked, "So, what do you think?" She flexed her body, which angered the kunoichi who was there, and showed off her above-average body parts, nearly ripping her white shirt. Naruto asked, What happened?" The female, Naruto, pouted, "What? You didn't ask my name, my phone number, or if I'm available." Naruto just grunted and tightened his grip on his sword. "Well, I am you. In essence." When Sasuke pulled Kyuubi's chakra, he didn't notice that Yondaime-sama had sealed only half of Kyuubi's chakra, while the other ran freely on your body, mixing with your chakra and slowly turning into your own. Yin and Yang, the Yang would never be taken by the sword of Sasuke. I am the result of all of that, the fusion of Kyuubi's yin chakra with your dark side. You can call me Naruto, said Naruto, who had just been introduced, as she faked a bow and smirked evilly at Naruto. But that can't be. The Yondaime sealed the yin chakra, so I could never use it, Naruto said indignantly. True, Naruto said, but it only took a small amount of time, like when I took your chakra. Only a second outside, and the monster Konoha feared the most and made in their ignorance was released to the world, to make a triumphant return filled with bodies, carnage, death, flames, destruction. Hecatomb. Naruto's voice boomed all over Konoha, her hatred clear to all who were there. But she said as she looked at Naruto, all that will be words if you stay alive. Naruto then clapped her hands together, her left hand suddenly glowing red. With a slow yank, she pulled out a sword that was different from the one the four-tailed beast used. This one was solid gold, slightly curved, and had a hook at the end. I will kill you, Naruto, and as a parting gift, the severed heads of the people of Konoha will serve as witnesses to your death. You shall die knowing all died because of you. She screamed, a maniacal smile on her face. Let it rain blood. Not on my watch, witch. Naruto yelled, suddenly changing his stance and raising his Zanbato above him. You shall not leave this place alive. With that, they both ran at each other while screaming. Naruto and Naruto's swords collided with a slight jump. With a flick, Naruto was able to trap Kei's no Yaiba gap with the hook dent, disarming Naruto. The girl began to swing her sword mixed with Naruto's, trying to cut him down in advance, but he dodged each swing, ducking and walking backwards while doing it. In an instant, Naruto grabbed the grip of Kei's no. Naruto dodged a blow to the head and reached out with his right hand to Naruto. Naruto grunted when she felt an invisible force hit her stomach. She dug her feet into the ground and screamed, sending a chakra pulse at Naruto that hit him right on the head and knocked him to the ground. Naruto slowly stood up and saw Naruto already ready to fight, holding Kei's no Yaiba and staring at her. With a growl, the four-tailed girl stood up, holding her own sword. The dark side of Naruto dashed at Naruto, who just narrowed his eyes. It's time to bring out the big guns. Arrow Sennin will kill me for this, Naruto thought as he saw Naruto coming toward him. Sakura wondered, is he going to use the Valley of the Maelstrom again? I doubt it, the hand seals are different. Kakashi said, lightning release. They all heard Naruto shout, lightning rain bullets. And, to the shock of many, Naruto began to spit a huge barrage of electric bullets about the size of baseballs at Naruto. With a grunt, Naruto also started making hand seals, which surprised the people watching. Fire release. Mythical fire phoenix technique, Naruto said, letting out a crazy number of baseball-sized fireballs. Her attack collided with Naruto's, creating a wall of fire and bolts. With a curse, the female Naruto grabbed her sword and ran to where Naruto was, but she couldn't find him. Come out, coward. Die like a man. She snarled. If you insist, you crazy wench. Naruto looked up and saw that Naruto's voice was coming from right above her. You little ba. Raise the alarm. Konohamaru yelled, yes. Kill her boss. As he watched Naruto slam a Rasengan right into Naruto's stomach, making her scream in pain. She was then shot away on a chakra orb, which spun out of control and hit a wall. Meanwhile, Kurenai was still holding the young Sarutobi, who was obviously upset about Hiruzen's death. In fact, many people were. Even though he admitted that he and the elders had planned the Uchiha massacre, he also said that he had done it for the good of Konoha. Strangely, the villagers didn't believe him this time, unlike 12 years ago, when he said that Naruto had captured Kyuubi and was the hero of Konoha. They would have never thought that the smiling blonde could hide something so evil. Yes, Kyuubi used to live inside Naruto, but that evil was kept in check, unlike Naruto, who, to their growing shame, was created by both Kyuubi's chakra and their contempt. All the anger, frustration, and pain they had felt toward him had finally come out, killing the man who had been holding it back for so long. People all over Konoha who didn't like the blonde now cheered for him because they knew he was the only one who could stop Naruto and, to their shame, Sasuke Uchiha. In 12 years, Konoha made 2 monsters. One was made out of anger, and the other was made out of love. Naruto pulled herself out of the crater that had formed behind her. Her shirt was torn down her abdomen, and she had a nasty spiral scar on her belly, but that didn't stop her at all. When she saw that Naruto was very angry, the girl slammed her sword down and put her hands together in a ram seal. "You know something," Naruto said. "It might look like I only have the power of 4 tails, but they are enough." Suddenly, red chakra erupted from the girl and formed a sort of shield around her, a red aura that soon took the shape of her. When he saw her, Naruto narrowed his eyes. The power she gave off was enough to choke everyone around him, but he wouldn't choke. There was still a lot at stake. Naruto asked as she pulled her sword out of the ground, "Tell me, before I kill you, why you fight?" "It's a question I'm very interested in because you never think about it. Why do you fight when everyone hates you?" Naruto was quiet for a whole minute, holding Kei's no Yaiba tightly in his hands. Then he sighed and said, "You know. I asked the same thing when I found out I had a Kyuubi inside me. Why bother when everyone hates you?" Naruto rolled her eyes at that answer. "And even when someone acknowledges me as a person and not a monster, I kept wondering, always keeping that to myself, until my first C-rank mission. When you have someone important you want to protect, you become really strong," Naruto said. Suddenly, the wind started to pick up strength around the arena, slowly but surely raising dust around the arena. Even when we got back to Konoha, I couldn't stop thinking about it, so I asked Gigi about it. He told me that those words are the foundation of every Kage who deserves respect. A Kage is a leader, but also a protector for everyone in the village, even those who hate him, and if someone tries to destroy that, they risk the wrath of a shadow. Naruto snapped, the wind getting stronger than ever. Naruto said, "When I was young, those principles kept me sane and led me in the right direction. Then I wanted respect and forgot about them. That's why I was never able to get stronger at the academy. I wanted something for myself that went against what I really wanted." Naruto said, "Maybe. You were a coward, Naruto. You should have killed them all when you had the chance to show them you were stronger. To show them they were wrong. No, that would be giving them what they wanted, a demon. I am not that monster, I don't hate them for that. I was in pain once, but I accepted my mistakes when I graduated and forgave everyone who hurt me. I swore I would protect them, because in that crowd of haters, in that darkness, there were people who gave me hope, people who cared about me, people who became my friends, my family. For them I fight, for them I will gladly die 1,000 deaths, for those who live, for those who died, for them I will keep going forward. No matter who stands in my way, I will never kneel, never breaking down. I will never give up. I fight for my family, my true family." He didn't know it, but those words had a big impact on one Sabaku no Gaara. Gaara watched the blonde defy all the pain he had once felt, but unlike the blonde, he chose the easy way out and gave up. Gaara slowly got up and pushed Temari off of him. He saw the worried look on her face and that of his brother Kankuru. When he slowly checked the wound on his stomach, he found that it had already healed, and what was even stranger was that he could still control sand like before. Naruto said, "That's so stupid, Naruto. Why help the minority when the majority deserved to die?" "That's something I don't understand either," Naruto said as she turned around and saw Gaara, who had just woken up. "Is illogical. Yet it has a meaning to me," Gaara said with his eyes closed and arms crossed, as he usually does. "Oh yeah, then tell me," Naruto said. At that moment, a wall of sand hit Naruto in the stomach, sending her flying toward Naruto, who shot his left palm. "It's because that minority is the ones you can really count on," Gaara said indifferently. "That speech would have been so epic if you had said it with more passion," Naruto said as he walked up to Gaara. "So, what happened with the change from murderous genin to a cold but friendly ally?" he asked. Gaara just stared at Naruto for a moment before going to see where Naruto had crashed. Gaara said, "We'll talk about that after we get rid of that pest." Sand came out of his gourd as he said it. Naruto nodded as he faced Gaara and the rising Naruto, who threw a rock away from her. Naruto growled, "I don't care how many of you there are, I'll kill you all." She was about to charge at the two, but she stopped when she saw that her whole left hand was covered in sand. She then looked at Gaara, who held out his right hand and said, "Desert." Bastara. Gaara stopped Naruto with the word, "coffin." The sand around her arm crushed her arm completely, and blood came out of the sand. Without hesitating, Gaara jerked his hand, which caused the sand around Naruto's arm to jerk violently, ripping Naruto's arm out to her shoulder and making her scream in pain and look at Gaara with murder in her eyes. Naruto slowly started to laugh, and when she turned around, Naruto and Gaara were shocked to see that her normal arm had been replaced by a monster-like claw made of pure chakra. Her fingers had been replaced by 5 huge, clear red claws, and her arm had grown 3 times bigger, with solid red chakra making up the monster arm. "That is something I kind of expected," Gaara said as he slowly got into a fighting stance. "Considering she was a pure chakra monster before," Naruto said. "Now we have to deal with a sword and a monster arm, just our luck." Gaara replied, "With me around, trust me, it can and will get worse." Naruto said, slowly raising his sword and looking at Naruto, who gave him an insane grin. Naruto said, "I hit her high. I hit her low." Gaara hissed as his sand suddenly shot up, aimed at Naruto's legs. The monster woman jumped out of the way of the attack, just to see Naruto above her. With a snarl, Naruto shot her sword at him, which Naruto easily blocked. He then held his left hand in front of him and used his telekinetic powers to block Naruto's claw. Gaara didn't waste any time and shot sand at her. Sand tentacles were ready to grab another victim for the desert coffin. Naruto growled as she quickly stood up and slammed her mutated arm on the ground. To Gaara and Naruto's surprise, an explosion of chakra blocked the sand tentacles in their view of Naruto. Naruto's eyes darted around, looking for the monster that was Naruto. When he couldn't find her, he turned his attention to Gaara. "Behind you, Gaara." The sand ninja didn't have much time to react as Naruto slammed him with her claw, breaking his sand automatic defense and sand armor with a single flick of her arm. She pushed Gaara away towards the stands where the Konoha ninjas were, and they were shocked to see how Gaara of the Sand was taken down with a single strike. "Oh. So. This. Is. Pain. Man, this. Is. Terrible." Gaara gasped before passing out. This left Naruto alone against Naruto, who said with a cruel smile, "You can't win, Rayearth. I will kill you." The armored woman said, the red beast, as she watched the battle through the holes in her visor. It was a great chance to take Naruto away, but it wasn't that easy, because he was fighting something that she and her sister knew was legendary. "Sister, the red beast is real," the one with the monk-like grips said as she slowly reached for her golden mask and took it off, revealing ivory skin and golden eyes. The armored woman did the same, revealing ivory skin and silver eyes. "It can't be, it's a myth, the beast isn't real, it's impossible," said the armored woman. After seeing the female thing fight against their lord in such a fierce and deadly battle, they were sure that he was the Rayearth of Wind. Who else in that land had such a connection to wind? Its tails are as many as its evil. Its color is red. Its power is monstrous. And so is its appearance. I may look harmless, but don't be fooled. It is a beast of corrupt power and untold evil. The red beast lives and dies for the end of the world. It bathes in the blood of its enemies. That's why its color is red, the color of blood, the monk girl said. The monk girl said, "We have to go help him, sister." The armored one said, "We can't, are you crazy? We don't have the power to face that beast by ourselves. All we can do is hope that our king wins." If he doesn't, then everyone we know will suffer. Naruto swallowed a lump in his throat as he looked at Naruto. That freak was way too strong, and it didn't matter if someone cut her down because she would grow a chakra member based on what they cut down of her. If not. Anima, do you think the same things I do? Certainly, but I think it's foolish and almost impossible to do. Since it's the only way, though, let's do it. Naruto put his sword down a little and started to take deep breaths. He closed his eyes and gathered chakra, wind, and light with just his mind and no hand seals. I don't want you to use that technique, that transformation, unless it's an emergency. I dare say it's worse than Kyuubi's chakra because it hurts you as much as it hurts your opponent. Use it only if you have no other choice. Jiraiya's words stuck in his mind. What he was about to do was against what the Toad Sage said was right, but he didn't have much a choice. He needed an edge, something to turn the tide of the battle against Naruto. Naruto let out a mental smirk as he felt the energy building up. He didn't want to use the transformation or the other thing he had that was even more forbidden than the transformation, but he had to because he needed to step up in the battle. He heard Naruto yell, "Die!" as she lunged at him. He also heard Hinata yell his name, the guys yell at him to open his eyes, and Konoha itself yell to fight. Oh, he was going to fight. Naruto was in for a rough time. Then, everything he had gathered on him suddenly reached a critical point. What he and Anima had been waiting for, his eyes suddenly opened, and when that happened, Naruto's world fell apart. A sudden burst of chakra blasted through the arena, sending waves of energy all over Konoha. Ninjas of all ranks fell to their knees when the overwhelming pulse messed up their own chakra networks. This left the attacking Auto and Suna ninjas helpless against the more taijutsu-focused Konoha defenders, and it stopped all summons and genjutsus. All over Konoha, a gust of wind blew. The roof of the arena groaned as the wind almost blew it off. Thunder and lightning erupted, overloading the electric grid of the arena and the nearby houses. Light bulbs, TVs, radios, and anything else that was connected to the grid went out at the same time. In the middle of all this chaos was Naruto, or what they could call Naruto. The blonde had changed as much as Naruto's four-tailed beast. The blonde seemed to be made of chakra. His whole body seemed to be made of blue chakra, covered by a thin and transparent layer of wind that made the ones of skin. Naruto's hair, eyebrows, nails, and lips were glowing yellow. His spiky hair stood out the most because each strand seemed to be made of lightning. With a slow shrug, many people heard several bones break if Naruto had bones in such a state. Naruto's voice boomed all over the arena. It was a mix of his usual voice, a deeper voice, and a voice that echoed. "I'm done with games," he said. "You will not leave Konoha alive." Naruto's new voice made the whole stadium shake. He held Kei's no Yaiba in his right hand, and his left hand suddenly reached for the three-pronged kunai in his holster and gripped it tightly. As he screamed, "For your crimes! You shall die!" He suddenly vanished, leaving the Junin with wide eyes. Naruto turned around and was shocked to see Naruto behind her, ready to cut off her head. Thinking quickly, she brought her sword up to block the swing of the blade. Bang! Naruto didn't believe it when she felt the powerful blow that threw her into a wall and hit it hard. Suddenly, she was pushed further into the wall by a powerful wind gust that hit her and pushed her further into the wall. With a roar, the female Naruto pushed herself off the wall just in time to avoid another wind blast that tore the spot where she had been. Jumping away, Naruto shot her monster arm forward, her large claws shooting 5 beams of chakra at Naruto. As the beams approached, Naruto didn't use his blade to deflect them. Instead, he used his left arm to shrug them away like he would a fly. Too many people were shocked when it actually pushed the beams away when they touched his arm, sending them into the empty stands and destroying part of them, much to the shock of the people in the stands and onlookers. Is madness. Is impossible. Kiba said with a shocked look as he held Akamaru in his arms. What in Kami's holy name did he turn into? Ino asked as she watched the changed Uzumaki lift his left arm again, and then swing it forward in a forward arc. Not a second later, some kind of disruption of reality formed in front of him, suddenly turning into a shower of thunders that shot forward at unimaginable speed at the is limit, Guy said, narrowing his eyes at Naruto in his new form. Think of that as the Rayearth equivalent of the 8 celestial gates. He went on, like the gates, it boosts his power, but unlike the gates, a Rayearth can do it all at once, reaching full power in a single boost of power, and unlike the gates, the user of limit doesn't die, but is rather exhausted after that. Not only that, he can only use limit for 5 minutes, Kakashi said, looking at the fight with a serious look. Only Rayearths can use it, so no, Sakura, I can't copy it with my Sharingan. Not only that, the transformation isn't for show. In a way, he has become wind, lightning, and chakra incarnate. So, in 5 minutes, he's become a god of wind and lightning with perfect control over chakra and unheard of telekinetic powers? Tenten said out loud. If you want to put it that way. Yes. He has, Kakashi said, a little amused by the way Tenten was describing Naruto's newfound power. Shino said again, I hope that those 5 minutes are enough. Naruto is a chakra being like Kyuubi, and energy can't be destroyed. Many ninjas and regular people knew what Kyuubi was like, and so they knew what the other Biju were like, too. No matter what kind of Biju it was always powerful and bad. The only exception was the Uchi Oni, the 8-tailed beast. Some say he is only beaten by Kyuubi in terms of raw power, but he is the only good Biju. Zetsu was watching the fight with narrowed eyes. He knew better than anyone that fighting a Biju head-on was a suicide mission, unless you were an S-class ninja or a jailer with full or partial control over your tailed beast power. Of course, he forgot that the Rayearths were also possible Biju vanquishers, if not the only known force that could actually kill a Biju. But there was one thing that made the Biju almost invincible. They were energy, gathered charka that took the shape of a creature, but they were still energy, and energy can't be destroyed. Zetsu and everyone else in Akatsuki knew that killing a jailer doesn't kill the Biju. The only exception was Naruto, whose seal was tied to the god of death. If Naruto died, Kyuubi would also die, which was something that Akatsuki, especially Pain, couldn't let happen. So, unlike Itachi or Kisame, he was there for that reason. He didn't have any business or problems in Konoha other than capturing Naruto, but the small mission of capturing the weakest of the demon jailers had turned out to be, well, an eventuality. After all, no one could have told Zetsu that his target would turn into something that would break all the known ninja physical laws and also break many other laws at the same time. Zetsu wasn't a fighter, which is why Akatsuki sent him to kill and spy on their enemies. He preferred to eat his enemies when they weren't looking, when they were distracted, which can be fatal for a ninja. He was there instead of Kisame and Itachi because he could move faster and catch the elusive blonde. That was before the elusive blonde changed into a being of chakra, wind, lightning, and telekinesis. Zetsu had seen the telekinesis on TV, but live is different. He knew he had no chance of catching the blonde, at least not without a way to stop his telekinesis or his other skills. The blonde could kill half of Akatsuki without even touching them, and that thought scared him a lot. So he decided it would be best to just hide and watch, so he could tell Kisame and Itachi about the blonde's skills and help them get ready for him. But he couldn't understand why the blonde would kill a being made of pure energy. Naruto stared at the blonde who had just changed. She didn't want to admit it, but the blonde had gained more power than usual and would use it to try to kill Hera if she could die, that is, since her human look is just a mask for her true look, like the trickster and magic kitsunes of legend. Knowing that she wouldn't lose anything, she decided to destroy her human shell with a chakra blast. Her human skin and clothes burned, leaving her with a red chakra body. Strangely, her piggy tails, fox ears, and female parts stayed the same, as did her golden sword and monster left arm, claw. Naruto said, "It's time to die, Naruto." As her monster jaws moved and the insides of her mouth lit up. "You first." Naruto moved again at an incredible speed toward Naruto, but stopped behind her. Not even a second later, a loud boom shook the arena and sent Naruto flying toward the ground. "I'm as fast as sound now, wench. Don't tell me you've never heard a sonic boom." Of course, no living thing has ever traveled at the speed of sound. The only exception would be the yellow flash, Naruto said with a smirk. Naruto snarled, "It doesn't matter, I'll kill you no matter what form you take." Her voice stayed the same, but her body changed. "You can try, and you can die." With that, Naruto attacked Naruto, their blades clashing as they attacked each other without mercy, but much to Naruto's surprise, Naruto attacks had more power behind them. Each strike let out a gush of wind that flattened a portion of the ring, depending on where the attack was headed, and some bolts sometimes escaped from Naruto's sword. The four-tailed Naruto lunged at the transformed Naruto, only to stop in midair when Naruto rose his hand
and force it down, forcing her down, forming a nasty crater on the ground. Rising his hand, Naruto rose Naruto as well, and with a flick he shot her towards a wall, making it collapse upon impact. Not even satisfied by that, he swung his left arm hard upwards, a tornado forming on the rubble, so strong it was that the biggest chunks of rocks were dragged alongside the visible form of Naruto, who was slammed each time on the walls of the tornado, like a pinball. Narrowing his eyes, Naruto shot his right hand, sword included upwards, and then swung it down, meeting the ground, and with a shocked look, all the onlookers saw and heard the loudest, brightest and without argue strongest thunder ever to fall, meeting Naruto inside the tornado, causing the tornado collapse on its own core, causing a massive explosion of wind and a lighting orb forming around her, suddenly to explode and eat her fully, before shooting fast to the ground, all seeing that Naruto telekinesis was responsible.
On impact, there was a loud explosion that shook the arena. A chakra shockwave came from Naruto and was aimed at Naruto. Naruto raised both his arms, hands together like he was clapping, and then split the shockwave easily, showing that he had the upper hand. For now, of course, because he only had a short amount of time on his side. "Anima, this isn't working, because she still has a lot of energy. I know, we have to force her to give off more energy. We can't destroy energy, but we can turn it into something she needs, like power for her heavy attacks." "I know that, Anima, but I only have 3 attacks that could work, and Arrow Sennin told me I couldn't use the 4th one. Since he didn't make you promise, there's no reason not to." "You found a loophole? What are you, a lawyer?" "Who knows?" Naruto didn't say anything because he knew Anima was testing him. Their plan was simple. If they couldn't get close enough to hit her and block her chakra, they would force her to use all her energy to block their attacks, which would tire her out. Gigi had probably thought of this plan before, but they didn't have the power to back it up. They did now, but only for the next 2 minutes. Naruto raised his sword, moved forward a little, and then swung it at Naruto. To Naruto's surprise, a fine energy beam shot from the tip of Naruto's sword and hit her and the ground behind her in a curved arc. Boom. The arena was shaken by a powerful explosion. The fine energy beam turned out to be a delayed and stronger version of the four-tailed beast chakra ball, but with more style, and the fact that it hit Naruto made many people think she was dead. Much to their disappointment, she was mostly alive, but her tails were limp and made of normal fur instead of energy. She was slowly getting her energy back. Naruto grinned when he saw that her golden sword had also been cut off. Aura Beam was something that only he could do in that state. With his godlike control of chakra, he was now able to use that huge pool of chakra he had to cause a lot of damage, kill the cage right away, and hurt the Biju so much that it had to use its energy to protect itself, weakening it. It was pure genius. Naruto, in his new form, saw Naruto's limp body and attacked again, this time aiming the tip of his sword at her. A pure blue chakra orb formed on the tip of the blade, growing to the size of a baseball before collapsing in its own core at the size of a marble. Aurora Cannon. He yelled, and a huge burst of blue chakra shot out of the small marble-sized chakra ball, hitting Naruto. As soon as the attack stopped, many people saw that Naruto was in the middle of a burned and melted gash that grew where she was. Naruto was hurt, barely glowing red like before, and her four tails were limp. She was slowly getting her energy back. Bastard, I'll kill you. But due to the smoke that covered her hands, no one saw a red ball of pure energy in them, until she shot it, and dispersed the smoke. The ball aimed at Naruto, who narrowed his eyes in surprise, then to shot in glee, impaling Kei's no Yaiba on the ground, and only holding his tri-pronged kunai. Naruto extended his right hand, and caught the attack cleanly, shocking all, including Naruko, who never noticed something on her feet. You are one stupid girl, aren't you? Naruto asked, surprised and oddly happy. You just gave me an ingredient for my ultimate jutsu. Without any delay, the nearly solid chakra energy turned into a red Rasengan. Holy, 4 Rasengans. That's going to be a nasty attack, Kakashi muttered, shocking the group of genin, but Kakashi and Naruko both knew something. You fool, that amount of energy on the core Rasengan is heavy enough to keep me still. To you, it must be like lifting an anvil with a finger. You won't be able to move, let alone hit me. Then Naruko started to laugh out loud. She is correct. That demon energy in the middle is heavy, but teleporting doesn't have weight limits. Naruto suddenly started laughing, even though he was only a minute away from turning back into him. What's the joke? Naruko yelled angrily that she was winning and should be the one laughing, but Naruto in his new form just smiled and pointed with his kunai free hand. At the ground. Naruko looked down and saw a 3-pronged kunai with several seals on the handle right next to her foot. With wide eyes, she tried to kick the kunai away. Flying Thunder God, in less than a millisecond, Naruto Uzumaki teleported his transformed body from one place to another. In front of Naruko, a yellow disturbance appeared, then yellow bolts, and then Naruto, holding an attack that could easily tear apart time and space. Omega Rasengan. This is for Gigi. Naruto slammed the newly named Omega Rasengan into Naruko with a roar. What happened next will be remembered by many as the meanest attack a ninja has ever made and used. The 3 purple blades suddenly pulled the 3 Rasengans toward the core demon chakra Rasengan, forcing them to join. This went on for 5 seconds, until the 4 Rasengans fused, with the purple blades acting as a kind of barrier to keep the 4 energies together. The 4 energies were unstable on an unstable core, but the outside was as solid as a sledgehammer. To Naruko, it felt like hell, like a sledgehammer was. Just to explode with the force of 1,000,000 explosive tags in the blinding light of 1,000 suns. The explosion didn't make any sound, only destruction. Not even Naruko's screams could be heard. Kakashi and Hinata covered their eyes, but it didn't seem to help much because of how bright the flash was. The blast seemed to get bigger and bigger, destroying the ground arena in a blaze of destruction, but strangely, there was no sound of rubble being he had just seen someone kill a Biju with Biju Jutsu. Hinata thought it was beautiful, with endless rows of different colors, rainbows with millions of colors, and a warmth she had never felt before, the warmth of her parents' love, the love and warmth of a sibling, the love and warmth of a boyfriend, husband, or lover. It was impossible to compare or describe this warmth with anything else. Did she pass on? That was heaven, right? The place where everything started? Where is Kami? When she looked around, she saw her friends. Ino and Sakura were as shocked as she was by the beauty of the universe. Kiba, the newly awakened Akamaru, and Shino were also shocked. Shino even took off his sunglasses to show a pair of silvery eyes with pupils. His eyes were so sensitive that he needed sunglasses to protect them from the sun. She could see that Kakashi and Asuma were shocked, that the Suna ninjas seemed to be at peace, that Temari was calm, that Konkaru had taken off his cat-like hat, revealing his brown hair with spikes, and that Gaara, the murderer who had been unconscious so far, was awake and mesmerized by the place, his haunted eyes filled with peace. Hinata turned around and saw that Tenten seemed to have just lost her mind. Her eyes were glassy, and she was looking at each color with undivided attention. So beautiful, was all she could say before reaching out to touch and feel the colors. Guy was so shocked that he didn't know what to say. Choji seemed to be lost in thought and just float, like her and the rest of them, and Shikamaru. He was crying, but not because he was sad. He was crying because he was happy. He didn't blink because he didn't want to miss the beauty of what he was seeing. Where do we stand? Hinata whispered, Limbo. To the ninja's surprise, Hiruzen Sarutobi's voice came on, and when they looked, they saw the dead Sandame. The Hokage looked about the same age as Kakashi or Asuma. He wore the Hokage robes but didn't have a hat. His brown hair was spiky, and his face was strong but kind. Hokage-sama where? No. Asked a random Chunin. Like I told you, this is Limbo, the bridge between the land of the living and the land of the dead, or, if you want to be more direct, the before the afterlife, Hiruzen said with a smile, noticing that some of the people were looking scared. Noah, your time hasn't come yet, and I'm glad about that. It would make me sad to know that ninjas like you died so young. You deserve to live and enjoy life to the fullest, Hiruzen said as he walked around the invisible ground, enjoying the shocked looks of the floating shinobi. Naruto's Omega Rasengan literally opened a rift between Limbo and the world of the living, not forever, of course, but enough said that he did right by naming it Omega Rasengan, not something Minato planned for his incomplete jutsu. But well, I must say is close to what he wanted, Hiruzen said, taking a step back and letting the other ninjas see what was behind him. Naruto was still in that 5-minute elemental god form that Tenten had called him. He seemed to be unconscious and on his back. There was a huge white tiger nearby that was looking down at Naruto. What worried the others were the 4 humanoid figures that were all made of wind and had no distinguishing features. The tiger is Anima, the Lord of Wind, the guardian of the Rayearth of Wind, and a friend of the Rayearth of Wind, Hiruzen said. Those figures are old Rayearths who came back from the afterlife to check on the new Rayearth of Wind. And what about Naruto? Well, Kakashi asked. Oblivion has a new resident, Hiruzen said in a serious tone. Her power and soul were destroyed on this plane, and she was sent to the eternal darkness of Oblivion, which you could call hell because nothing there exists, nothing there talks, and even if there are people living there, no one can get out. This is her punishment. Kyuubi's crimes will be paid for, since she was part of the evil side of the 9 Tails, Hiruzen said, seeing how many ninjas sighed with relief. What on earth are we doing here? Sakura found the courage to speak, even though she didn't believe she was floating on the bridge between the living world and the afterlife. Well, first of all, you were caught in the attack backlash, which was a blast of energy. It wasn't too bad for most of you, since only ninjas and chakra-sensitive people are here, but I can guarantee that most of you will be in pain for the next week or so. This is the first time something like this has happened, Hiruzen said as he walked around and looked for Naruto. He has a hard job ahead of him. Soon, he will be called to Crystalia to fulfill his role as Rayearth. The Rayearths of Fire and Water will join the Queen and the secret Rayearth to free Crystalia from the Dark's grip, Hiruzen said. The secret Rayearth? Kiba asked. The current Queen has been corrupted and is dying. The secret Rayearth is next in line, chosen by the 4th Guardian. If something like this corruption happened, she would join them at the same time, they would all be called at the same time, and only the Guardians could force them to go to Crystalia. That's how it works, Hiruzen said. On the eve of the first black moon of our era, 8 will vanish, the Red Dawn will hunt them wherever they go, and the 9 will follow them, the revolutionary wind. When the Shodem Hokage Hashirama Senju joined Hiruzen in Limbo, many people were shocked beyond belief. On the eve of the second green clouds, the eternal water will fight the Pariah King, doing what many others have done before, alone, and then joining the revolutionary wind. Tobirama Senju joined the other dead cages in the place where they go after they die. On the eve of the Black Sun, the Protector Fire will fight the cursed Beast of Fire. If it wins, it will join the revolutionary wind in the timeless water, making them a force to be reckoned with, Hiruzen said in a serious tone. On the eve of the Ringed Sun, the chosen Queen will face her fears. The purifying earth will join with the protecting fire, the timeless water, and the revolutionary wind. They will be joined by a bond of brotherhood and friendship, followed by selfless and true friendship, and then love. They will stand together against evil, and their return will mark the fourth era of Crystalia, the era of change. Let everyone know. At the same time, the four Hokages said, "Behold the birth of the Rayearth of Wind, and behold the rebirth of Naruto, the Maelstrom." This shocked the guests. Naruto suddenly stopped changing, letting out a huge gust of wind that tickled the nerves of all the ninjas there. Anima, the huge tiger, also turned into wind and let out a powerful roar that, in Kakashi's opinion as a Kyuubi veteran, was louder than Kyuubi's own, then shot at Naruto, who opened his eyes and turned around. "Dad?" Minato didn't expect Naruto to call him, but when he did, he smiled and said, "Hi, Naruto. Nice job with the Rasengan. I'm sure you'll finish it with enough practice." "You were right, Hiruzen. They are father and son," Minato said as he slowly faded away. "They lack tact," Tobirama said, referring to the fact that they called each other father and son in front of people who didn't know them. "Don't forget Kushina. I'm sure he got that lack of direction from her, too." Hashirama turned to Naruto, who was trying to avoid the shocked looks of the presents. "Naruto," he said. "Do me a favor and kill Madara. The little jerk might have escaped death once, but I doubt even he has a chance against you when you reach your full potential. Please. Put an end to his pain and the pain of the Uchiha clan by killing him. Sasuke and Itachi need help. Save them." Is a gift that Madara gave without expecting anything in return. Don't let its familiars do the same thing. After that, the limbo flashed, blinding everyone except the four Hokages, who looked at Naruto and said, "One day, you'll make a good Hokage." Rokudame Hokage, Naruto Uzumaki. Child of the Revolution, they said at the same time. Rokudame Minato's voice was the last thing anyone heard, and it made Naruto and the other Konoha ninjas smile. It did have a nice sound to it. The day was finally over, and the setting sun watched as the Konoha ninjas, whose chakra reserves were low but getting better, made their way to the stadium. From a distance, they could see that the stadium only had the stands, which were broken and without a roof, and a huge black crater where the ring used to be. In the middle of the crater, they saw a single blonde sleeping soundly in torn clothes. At a distance, they could see Anbu and medics helping the unconscious people in the stands and putting them in stretches. Meanwhile, the TV crew was slowly getting up and looking around in confusion, asking if what they were showing was real and if the camera hadn't turned to dust, which, amazingly, it hadn't. Itachi Uchiha stood on a small rock cliff far from Konoha and watched the sun go down. Zetsu was telling him and Kisame that it would take a week to get to Konoha, and Itachi already had a mission of his own. Farther away, on the border between Fire Country and Rice Country, Orochimaru sneered in anger. His plans had failed because his next body had gone against him. And even further away, on the border between Fire Country and Rain Country, right on the border, Sasuke Uchiha and his root Anbu moved silently toward the Land of Stone. Sasuke could feel that the power he used to make Naruto would never come back. Biju power would come back, and Kyuubi's power would too, but it would take time, a lot of time he could use to plan, train, and think. Many things had changed in just one day. The only question was how big the changes were.
So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more awesome stories like this. Thank you. See you all in my next video.